Wow, did you see the curve on that goal? It went right the way around all the defenders and behind the goalie, and all of them were just onlookers, like the rest of the audience. Their stands, they didn't know what had happened. What a fantastic goal. I mean, the man must have practiced that forever to get that one done. What a fantastic goal. But you know, it's about time we as people, the West, got ourselves back in the goal as well. Because, quite frankly, our leaders have led us in a completely chaotic and completely stupid way. They've followed after the east wind, as the Bible says, which is wrong. Instead of going west, they've followed after the east wind towards Europe and put us into Europe, and without our permission. And you know, this particular treaty, as they call it, which was the Constitution, which was voted against by France and Holland and Irish, and you know, and just before that election, Blair, the general election that put Blair into power, he promised twice at the dispatch box, he promised that we would have a referendum. The first question was, Mr. Blair, will you have a referendum? He said yes. The next question was from the opposition benches, which said, you know, Mr. Blair,
you've got company.
Will we have a referendum even if all the nations of Europe turn the Constitution down? And he said yes. And that was just for the election, because every time on any of the programs, like Question Time and other programs, which they were discussing this, the issue of Europe was brought up. They always said, oh well, you know, don't discuss it now, we discuss it when the referendum on, we're just going to deal with the bread and butter issue, people interested in that. Straight after the election, of course, he welched on his word, which he'd given before Parliament. I mean, to me, it is disgusting. And then, of course, we see all the corruption in Europe, where 95% of the budget is missing, and Britain sends 40 million a day. That's 14 billion a year. That's 196 billion over 14 years, which, according to the EU auditors, not me, I'm just a reporter, 95% is unaccounted for. And I say missing, and then ... stolen, ? And that's what I feel. You know, if they can't tell us where it is, and four or five MEPs have actually got an investigation on some money that was being sent to Palestine, which was said to be used for good works, instead it was being used for arms, asked for an investigation. When they got in, they found no audit trail. Millions had gone, but nothing was there. Now, why would Brown want to go and give another 4 billion to Europe when surely you should have said, well, when you get the 95% sorted out, then we may look at this. But otherwise, I think we'd like to cut it back to the 5% that you're actually keeping. And that's what we should be doing. But no, he signs us further and further into this nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Look at this here. Here's an example. This is put in the mail yesterday, of the 5th of November. And there it is there. Look at it. These are the rules these are our laws and our abilities that we had as a free peoples. Foreign policy, criminal justice, sovereignty, labour laws, transport, defence, immigration and asylum, all being written off and given to Europe. What else is there left? So if the Conservatives say, oh, well, we won't allow any more treaties, it's so much hot air nonsense. They're not going to renegotiate this treaty, and there's going to be no more treaties, because this one's one that keeps on going and keeps on taking more and more and more. That's what it does. And this is completely unacceptable. And, you know, for Cameron to say, oh, well, we can't do anything because it's a treaty, that's nonsense. Treaties are broken all the time. And especially where the people have been absolutely railroaded and treacherously pushed into this. And every trick in the book has been used to try and keep us from having a referendum. Even changing the name of the darn thing from constitution to treaty, and say, oh, well, you know, it's the treaty now, it's a completely different thing. It's absolute nonsense. It doesn't matter. They're still signing us into it, but that was his excuse. I mean, and then he walks in, and after everybody else has gone, hoping not to be seen, and probably, signed it up there so nobody could see his face on top of the desk. He's signing up there. So, yes, we as a people have got to get our act together and get ourselves back in the goal, understand what we're doing. And this nonsense of keep on raising taxes to pay all these bills, let the banks stick with the darn things, and they've got to pay us back. But to get this country going, as one man said on the week last night, on the 5th of November, he said, reduce the taxes. That's what Margaret Thatcher did, and that's what Reagan did when we were in a similar bind when they came into power. Reduce the taxes. Because Reagan experimented in California. He increased the taxes and everybody jumped out of California. So now they've got to reduce the taxes. And you know what? The amount of money coming into the fiscus was embarrassing. They had so much money. So that's what we've got to do, is decrease the taxes and get the country going, get people in again. This constant taking more and more of the money is just a road to disaster. And we are on a road to disaster. We've got into sclerotic Europe where there is 200,000 laws being passed that nobody's read. Isn't that what caused the American Revolution and representative lawmaking? That's what caused Americans to revolt against Britain and King George III, because they said, these laws are being passed, and they chucked all the tea in Boston Harbor. And that's when the revolution started, and then Cornwallis was defeated by Washington. So, we've got to, as a people, demand that these things be done. We've got to demand that we have a referendum and make sure that our MPs phone your MP, write to your MP, email your MP, and go and visit your MP. It's your right as a democratic citizen right now to do that, because Europe is post-democratic, and they've forced us into this thing. And while we've still got any say, for goodness sake, let's get these guys on our side. If they don't want to get on our side, really, that's the Lib-Lab Con who've done this to us. Then what you've got to do is you've got to start looking at UKIP, BNP even, and definitely independence. Definitely vote for independence as far as I'm concerned, because we are in a serious trouble at the present moment, and we've got to rebalance that Parliament away from this liberal outlook. Thank you very much, and if you want any fuel cells, please contact us. Thank you very much. Bye.